Have you ever felt like your emotions were running the show, like they had you on a leash, dragging you through every high and low? What if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? Imagine this: someone betrays you, you lose something, or someone you love. You're harshly criticized in front of others. Most people would crumble, lash out, or shut down. But you stay calm, composed, unshaken. Not because you're cold, not because you don't care, but because you've trained yourself, like a warrior of the mind, to control your emotions before they control you. Sounds impossible? It's not. In fact, it's a learnable skill, and today, you're going to discover exactly how to master it. This isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending you're a robot. It's about understanding your emotions so clearly, so deeply, that they no longer run your life from behind the scenes. You take the wheel. You drive. The ancient Stoics, think Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they didn't just talk about emotional mastery, they lived it. These were people who faced exile, war, betrayal, even death, and still kept their inner peace. If they could do that 2,000 years ago, without therapy apps, podcasts, or meditation retreats, then you can do it today. So how did they do it? What were their secrets? Today, we'll break down 4 timeless techniques, practical, tested in fire Stoic methods that will completely shift the way you respond to stress, setbacks, and emotional chaos. Let's start with a powerful truth. Emotions are not reality. They're interpretations, filters. They're the stories your brain tells itself about what just happened. Picture this: a man insults you, harsh words, loud voice, maybe even in public. Do you instantly get angry, feel attacked? Or do you pause, take a breath, and realize this says more about him than it does about me? The Stoics believed that between stimulus and response, between the thing that happens and how you react, there's a space. And in that space, you hold power, real, transformative power. So the next time you feel anger boiling up, don't just react. Observe, step outside the storm, feel the emotion rise, then name it. This is anger, and remind yourself, emotions come and go. They are like weather, powerful but passing. That tiny pause might only last a few seconds, but it can make the difference between screaming and staying calm, between doing something you regret and doing something you're proud of. Make it a habit to examine your emotions as if they belong to someone else. Get curious, get objective. The more you do this, the more emotional clarity you gain. Here's the thing: events don't cause your emotions. Your interpretation of the events does. You lose your job. One person spirals into despair. I'm a failure. Another sees it as a blessing in disguise. Time for a new chapter. The same event. 2 completely different reactions. Why? Because of the story they're telling themselves. You have the power to edit that story, to choose a meaning that strengthens you, not breaks you. Next time something bad happens, ask yourself, is this really a disaster, or just one version of the story? What if a breakup isn't rejection, but redirection? What if a failure isn't the end, but the exact lesson you needed? It sounds simple, but this reframing takes practice. You're literally training your brain to interpret life differently, but once you do, you'll stop being a prisoner of circumstance and start becoming the author of your emotional world. Most people expect life to go smoothly. They think, if everything's not perfect, something's wrong. And that's exactly why they suffer when it doesn't. The Stoics, they did the opposite. They trained their minds daily to anticipate hardship, loss, rejection, pain, even death. Not to be dark, but to be ready. This practice was called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Each morning they'd ask, what could go wrong today? And how will I respond if it does? They mentally rehearsed life's punches, so when the punch came, it didn't knock them out. Try it. Before your day begins, ask yourself, what problems might arise today? Maybe someone cuts you off in traffic. Maybe you miss a deadline. Maybe someone lets you down. Then visualize your calm, thoughtful response. By expecting adversity, you defang it. You've seen the storm on the horizon and brought an umbrella. Let's be honest, most of our stress doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from wishing we could control what we can't. You can't control what people say, what they think, how they act. You can't undo the past or predict the future, but you can always control how you respond. The Stoics saw clinging to the uncontrollable as madness. They taught one core truth. You only own your actions, your thoughts, your choices. Everything else is out of your hands. So next time you feel frustration rising, stop and ask, is this within my control? If it is, do something. If it's not, let it go. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop wasting energy on things that don't move your life forward. Redirect your energy to what matters. Your discipline, your mindset, your values. That's where real strength lives. These 4 principles are only the beginning. Emotional mastery is a lifelong journey, but it starts with awareness and practice. Stick around, because in the next part, we'll go even deeper. You'll learn how to practice discomfort, develop indifference to praise or blame, and turn every obstacle into your fuel. Because in a world full of emotional chaos, the calmest person in the room, they hold the real power. Previously, we explored how the Stoics trained their minds like warriors, learning to pause before reacting, to reframe challenges, and to release the need to control what lies beyond their reach. But mental mastery doesn't end there. In fact, the real transformation happens in how you live these principles, not just think about them. Let's go deeper. Here's a truth most people ignore. Comfort makes you soft. Discomfort makes you strong. The Stoics didn't wait for hardship to toughen them. They welcomed it. Even when they had warm beds, they sometimes chose the cold floor. Even with food on the table, they practiced fasting. Why? Because when real hardship arrived, and it always does, they weren't caught off guard. They had already built the muscle to endure. Think about it. If you can't tolerate a little discomfort by choice, how will you handle it when life doesn't give you a choice? Start small. Take a cold shower, not because you have to, but because you choose to. Skip a meal, not to punish yourself, but to remind your body it can handle hunger. Leave the umbrella at home and walk through the rain. Feel the sting of the cold droplets and realize you're still okay. Each time you do something uncomfortable on purpose, you're not just testing your body, you're training your mind. You're proving to yourself that you can handle difficulty, not just survive it, but move through it with calm, grace, and presence. Over time, discomfort loses its power over you. It becomes familiar terrain, and suddenly, life's chaos doesn't knock you down, it becomes your training ground. What if your greatest hardships were actually hidden opportunities? Life will test you. That's not a possibility. It's a promise. The Stoics knew that every obstacle, every failure, every betrayal was an invitation to grow stronger. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, how is this shaping me? When someone betrays your trust, use it to build resilience. When you fall flat on your face, use it to sharpen your strategy. Because every setback contains a lesson. And if you can find it, learn it, and apply it, you level up, shift your perspective from victim to student. Life isn't punishing you, it's preparing you, training you, tempering you like steel in fire. A hard breakup, a failed exam, a lost opportunity. They're not the end of the road. They're detours that force you to build new strengths. When you adopt this mindset, adversity loses its sting. Instead of breaking you, it builds you. Here's something emotions are great at: clouding your judgment. And here's what clears that fog: logic. When anger surges through your chest, when sadness sinks in like a weight, when frustration threatens to boil over, stop, take a step back. Observe yourself from the outside. Ask, what would a completely rational person do right now? It sounds simple, but this question creates distance. It lifts you above the emotional storm and allows you to see with clarity. You're not erasing your emotions. You're putting them in perspective. You're letting reason lead the way. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. At first, it's hard. You'll forget. You'll react. But with repetition, logic becomes your default setting. Eventually, instead of reacting emotionally, you'll respond strategically. Your emotions won't vanish, but they'll stop hijacking your actions. You'll become the person who stays calm when others explode, who makes wise choices under pressure, who doesn't get pulled into the drama of the moment. That's emotional resilience. That's mastery. Mastering your emotions doesn't happen overnight. It's not a switch you flip. It's a daily practice, a mindset, a way of being. Every time you apply a Stoic principle, whether it's pausing before you react, reframing a failure, or walking in the rain without flinching, you're becoming stronger, calmer, and more in control of your mind. We live in a world that's loud, chaotic, and emotionally charged. But those who master themselves, they don't just survive in that world, they thrive in it. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 techniques resonated with you the most? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read everyone. And if you're serious about building this kind of unshakable inner strength, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel isn't just about ancient wisdom. It's about becoming the strongest version of you. Like the video if it spoke to you. It helps get this message out to more people who need it. Share it with a friend who's going through something tough. Remind them they have more power than they think. And as always, keep training your mind, because true power, it doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.